And we are back. College football season, the offseason is over, and here we go. Week number 0. This weekend, the college football season is back, and we have 5 games for college football this week. Iowa State versus Kansas State in Dublin, Ireland. UNLV will host Idaho State. Fresno State goes on over to Lawrence, Kansas to take on the Jayhawks. Sam Houston versus Western Kentucky in a divisional matchup in the CUSA, which is just odd. In week 0, anyways, Stanford also goes to Hawaii in probably my favorite game of the week, other than Iowa State, Kansas State. I'm so excited, guys. Last year, we predicted every single college football game, and this year will be no different. So make sure to stay tuned in here to the channel every single week, all the way until the national championship game. Weekly college football predictions dropping every Monday. We will have the entire slate out for you, every single game, every single week. And in addition to that, this year, probably on Wednesday nights, we're going to be doing best bets. For this week, it's going to be Thursday just because there's no NFL, but weekly college football best bets as well. That'll be over-unders, money lines, just my 5 favorite bets per week. Maybe we'll go to 10 as the season goes on. My favorite bets per week for college football. I cannot wait to get started here for the college football season here in 2025. We had some crazy stuff going down last year. Hell, who told you Indiana was going to the playoffs last year at the very beginning of the season? I did. Let's go college football 2025. We start with our first game, but first, folks, make sure that subscribe button down below for more college football content here on the channel. Daily MLB best bets currently going up on the channel on Greedo Plays MMA. We've got our UFC Fight Night Shanghai predictions. Those are linked in the description down below. Today, we're also posting our PFL Edwards versus Rosta full card predictions. So make sure to go check out new channel Greedo Plays. If you haven't been on the Greedo Plays channel since last college football season, I've made a separate channel for the MMA videos. Go make sure to check that out. That's linked in the description down below. Same type of content, just more content over on Greedo Plays MMA. Okay, on to the first of our 5 games this week for college football. Let's go in order. The first at 9 o'clock in the morning on ESPN. I'm sure game day is going to be there. Iowa State versus Kansas State. I'm going with the Wildcats here. They are 3.5-point favorites. I like -3 a lot more. If you get -3, take it. Just because if they win by a field goal, we're going to push. Okay. I hope this money line comes down a little bit. Like, if it's at -140, I'm going to take it for Kansas State. I don't want to worry about the points. Again, do I think they cover 3.5? Yes. Do I like -3 a lot more? 100%. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid this season with Kansas State. I am, at least for now. They are not my favorites to win the Big 12, and I'm not going to go over who I think is going to win every single conference. If you want to see that as a separate video, I mean, I can do it, because, I mean, I do pay attention to what happens in the offseason. My favorite team to win the Big 12, again, I won't go over every conference. I like Utah a lot this year. If you watched last year, I'm a huge Devin Dampier fan. I believe what Utah can do this season with that defense, they just needed an offense last year, and I like Isaac Wilson, but Isaac Wilson obviously wasn't the solution last year at quarterback. Being a freshman, they get I believe, a top 10 quarterback in college football in Devin Dampier to go play in Salt Lake City. Again, we'll get to Utah next week. I believe Kansas State's one of the best teams though in the Big 12. I have them at 3. Arizona State might be better than Utah, but Arizona State, Utah are my 1 and 2, and then I believe K-State's 3. I think Iowa State's good as well. My problem with Iowa State here, and obviously, again, they replenish in the portal and whatnot, but you lose Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins both to the Houston Texans. They're both the Texans right now. You take away by far Rocco Beck's top 2 guys. I mean, okay, Noel had 1,200 yards last season. Jaden Higgins in 1,200 yards last year. That makes up for 2,400 of Rocco Beck's 3,500 yards. So to other receivers, Beck only had 1,100 yards. Everything was around both Noel and Higgins, who are both in Houston now. Again, I know they stocked up on weapons again. Beck's got guys this year, but you just take away 2 NFL-level products. I don't love that, especially for what Iowa State was last year, and that was a team that's going to throw the ball, going to put the ball in Rocco Beck's hands. I don't love it, right? Their leading rusher last year was Carson Hansen. Hansen is back. I believe he's a junior now this year. I believe he's a junior. Okay, he'll be the lead back. Got some run, a lot of run towards the end of the season last year. They return him. And obviously they return Rocco Becht as well. But again, I am kind of sipping the Kool-Aid with Kansas State right now. I believe in Avery Johnson, who is entering now his junior year. Johnson is well experienced. This is a dual threat guy who can give you trouble. Obviously, Givens is now on to the NFL. Step in, Dylan Edwards. The former Colorado Buffalo obviously was the number 2 back last year to Givens. He is now, I would assume, the presumed starter. 600 rushing yards last year for him. He should, again, get a lot of run as the number 1 back this season. And I believe Avery Johnson's going to be extremely effective this year for K-State. I firmly believe he will. Jace Brown is back as well, who was the lead receiver last year for Kansas State. And I get it. It's the Dublin game. Weird stuff can happen, right? I mean, a lot of people thought Florida State was going to be decent last year. They go to Dublin. They lose to Haynes King and Georgia Tech in week 0 last year. Again, I guess it's just an ACC thing. They just go to Dublin to start the year. No. K-State and Iowa State play in the Big 12. I don't know why I thought that. Trust me, I know these 2 teams play in the Big 12. Not a good start to the year. Anyways, no, I think K-State wins this game. I believe in their offense a lot. Again, are you going to make up for DJ Giddens, Are you going to make up for his production last year? No, you're not. Giddens ran for 1,300 yards. You're not going to make up for that. Avery Johnson, though, if he can limit the picks, I believe Avery Johnson's going to be extremely effective. That was a sophomore year last year. You know, you get Dylan Edwards now, who ran for 600 yards last season. Avery Johnson ran for 600 yards as well. Jace Brown's back, who had 800 receiving yards. I like this, man. I really think K-State can be good. Last year in K-State and Iowa State played, Iowa State did win. It was a close game. It was in Iowa. Who knows, right? Who knows? It's in Dublin. What I was going for earlier was I don't know what's up with conference games being played. Okay, that was going on in my head when I said ACC, because last year ACC game opened, now Big 12 game opens. I don't love that they're playing a conference game in week number 0, just like how I don't get it later on in the CUSA. But that one's even weirder because they're playing they're playing in Western Kentucky. We'll get to that as we go on. I'm taking K-State in this game. I believe in Kansas State. Is this their year to win the Big 12? No, it's not. It's not. Because Utah's better and Arizona State's better. Trust me, watch out for Utah. I'm not telling you Utah's going to have like an Indiana-type run. And by the way, I firmly believe Indiana's going back to the postseason this season, but we'll get to that obviously next week. Just gotta go on the road and beat either Penn State or Oregon, and they're getting in. Trust me. But yeah, I'm going to take K-State to win this football game, and I think they will cover the 3 points as well. I will love this if we get it at minus 140 money line for Kansas State. I firmly believe they are going to Dublin and winning this game. First game of the college football season. Let's hope for no wacky stuff like we had last year with FSU losing to at Georgia Tech. Okay, give me K-State to win the game here to open the season. Okay, game 2 of the year. Okay, Idaho State versus UNLV. The one FCS school playing this week. And now, okay, next week, there's a lot of games. I don't know what I'm going to do next week because last year I went through every single week one game and it took me forever, especially with the graphics. And we're going to have games like I'm looking at it right now. St. Francis is playing UL Monroe or Stephen F. Austin is playing Houston. And it's just like, you get these FCS schools and I don't really know where to base that off of. I'm thinking about next week just doing the FBS games just because, where it's like, for example, Buffalo versus Minnesota, Nebraska versus Cincinnati, Miami of Ohio versus Wisconsin. Obviously, the big game next week, Texas versus Ohio State. That's probably what I'll end up doing. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, obviously. I am going to predict this game just because there's only 5 this week, and that's okay. But I couldn't tell you what's going on with UT Martin right now in their football program. I'll just be honest, I don't follow. I don't follow what the Western Illinois Leathernecks are doing as well, right? They're going to Illinois next week in Urbana-Champaign. It's just, right, I can't give you an accurate description for every single one of those games. For this game, though, between Idaho State and UNLV, I believe UNLV is going to cover. The line is currently set at 25.5, and I know it's a lot, especially for Idaho State, who went to Corvallis last season and lost by 22 points. Now, Oregon State wasn't the best last year. They just weren't. I know they had some, they had some good nights, like when they beat San Jose State. Oddly enough, I was in Oregon for that game. I went to the Ducks game, but it's okay. Thought about going to both, but anyways. I believe UNLV is going to blow them out. So UNLV was, if you remember last year, center of NIL controversy. Start the season with Max Sluka as their quarterback. I'm sorry, Matthew Sluka. I don't know. Matt Sluka. I don't want to call him Max. Matt Sluka, one of the better running quarterbacks in all college football. He was, oh my God, I'm blanking. Holy Cross's quarterback. comes into UNLV, decent in the first couple of games, runs for 100 plus yards in the Kansas victory, ends up sitting out because they didn't pay him what he thought he was getting paid. And then they had a running back situation as well there. Anyways, Hodge Malik Williams takes over, and he was more than serviceable for UNLV. Hodge Malik Williams has since graduated. He was a Campbell transfer. He was a senior last season, and now UNLV has another quarterback problem. I assume the quarterback's going to be Alex Orji. Calandria, who is a Virginia transfer, who has played at Virginia, played meaningful snaps at Virginia, kind of traded off picks and touchdowns. What I mean by that, his ratio is literally 1-to-1 with picks and touchdowns. So I don't think they're going to start Calandria, and I believe Alex Orji fits UNLV in the go-go style offense that they run a lot better. It just does. I mean, you know what UNLV does, where they're going to put the two backs in the backfield. They run all their funky sets, and why Sluka was successful and why Hodge Malik was successful as well, because they can run the football. Obviously, Sluka was a lot more run-dependent than Hodge Malik Williams was. Hodge Malik Williams was actually a pretty good passer last season, too, obviously with guys like Ricky White in the receiving room. But I think Alex Orji, again, we'll see what the passing game brings. Because we've described the problems with Michigan football in the past and the Michigan offense. We'll see if that changes the season with whoever starts, Bryce Underwood, Max Keene, who, I like Keene a lot, obviously from Fresno State. We'll see if if Keene starts the season. But anyways, I think that Alex Orji is going to be good this season for UNLV, just because of the way, I say Max Keene, Mikey Keene, my goodness. Why do I keep thinking dudes' names are Max Sluka, Max Keene, Mikey Keene? I think Orji's going to be really effective, man. I believe in Orji here. And again, it's an FCS game. Well, they're playing an FCS school. So if you're Orji, and maybe Calandria gets in later in this game too, maybe he does. But if you're Orji, you have got to get in the end zone as many times, right? We need to see Orji's in the end zone. We need to see Orji in the end zone multiple times, right? If there is not an Orji in the end zone at least 3 times in the first half, or at least, Orji's not the one putting them in the end zone, we have a problem. Because I do believe Orji and the team is going to get out to a strong start. Idaho State was just a mid-FCS team last year. They went, I think, either 5-7 or 6-6. UNLV should run right by them, right? I firmly believe that. I think it's a perfect spot for Orji. I would be shocked if Calandria starts. Calandria was not good. It is a couple years starting, or last year starting. Yeah, give me Alex Orji and UNLV. The line is 25.5. I wouldn't play it personally, just be honest. I think there are 4 better games this week to play than this one. I don't like betting FCS schools, okay? But I will go UNLV to win at Allegiant in Vegas. Our third game of the week. Let's go to Lawrence, Kansas. Kansas versus Fresno State. There's a relation between Kansas and UNLV. Obviously, last year, UNLV went to Kansas and beat them, I believe, on a Friday night. What a game again for Sluka. That was right before he left. Okay, Fresno State versus Kansas. Here's something, right? I'm going with Fresno State plus 12.5. I believe in Fresno State a lot more than a lot of people do. I think this team has all the makings to be the second best team in the Mountain West this season. We know who the best team is. It's Boise State. Do I think Fresno State has a chance? No. Okay, here's the thing. That's just the divide between Boise State and the rest of the Mountain West. It's pretty clear. Obviously, right, these teams, Fresno, Boise, Utah State, San Diego State, they're going to the Pac-12 next season. And the Pac-12 is just going to be a bona fide group of 5 conference next year. I mean, hell, Sac State's going to be in there. Even though I think Sac State's got all the potential to win that next season. We'll cross that bridge when we get there next year, if Sac State actually, again, gets to play in the Pac-12. However, I think Fresno State could be the second best team in the conference this year. I think so. We will see how this plays out, obviously, and we need to watch these teams actually play. I believe in E.J. Warner a lot more than I think people do. Again, on-field talent, is E.J. Warner the best player? No. Everything indicates E.J. Warner is one of the smartest football players that you're going to find. Well, he went to Rice. That's one hell of a culture shock, right? You go from Rice to Fresno State? Oh, okay. Shocker, But you lose Mikey Keene, right? Mikey Keene goes to Michigan. Will he start over Bryce Underwood? Who knows? I don't know what's going on over there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Again, there's a lot of college football to cover, and I haven't been really paying the most attention to Michigan. I hope Keene starts. It's always going to be an uphill climb for him at Michigan. It just is. You look at Fresno State, I really believe in E.J. Warner, though. I do. I think E.J. Warner has potential to be good this season. Again, this is a quarterback from Rice, obviously son of Pro Football Hall of Famer Kurt Warner. Warner is a senior now. Started at Temple, went to Rice. Was a lot better at Temple than he was at Rice. Last year was an underwhelming year for Warner to the point that he really struggled with the interceptions. And again, everything's indicated, at least the Fresno Bee has told me, that E.J. Warner is one of the smartest quarterbacks you're going to find. There's been a lot of praise, at least in the offseason there was, about when Warner hit the portal. Like, okay, you're going to get a smart quarterback and a guy that just reads the field really well in Warner. And it's just the talent that doesn't always translate. Again, he didn't get what his dad got in terms of talent, I don't think. Could he be a late-round draft pick? Maybe. It all just depends on how he plays this season. Again, Mikey Keene had a very productive year last year. Keene did struggle with the picks, too. He did, right? And I haven't even talked about Kansas yet. I'm just telling you, again, I think Fresno State can be decent this year. The Kansas Jayhawks were odd last year because they were so bad to start the year, and then by the end of the season, they were the one team you did not want to see in the Big 12. I mean, I vividly remember when Colorado went in there, and they got hammered. Colorado was the 16th best team in the country. They had still a potential to potentially make the playoffs, and they went into Kansas, and they got smashed. They could not stop Jalen Daniels, but more importantly, they could not stop Devin Neal, who is now on the New Orleans Saints. I don't think he's taken a snap yet for the Saints, though. He's injured. Okay. Devin Neal last year was running like one of the best running backs in football. Okay, again, he's gone now, and it is more. There's more on Jalen Daniels, and there's been made a lot out of Jalen Daniels. I mean, he himself put himself in some headlines by coining himself the oldest starting quarterback in college football, which is not accurate. It's just not. There are older guys, but Jalen Daniels has been around since 2020. He's been at Kansas his entire career. He struggled so much to start the season last year, but as the season continued, yes, Jalen Daniels was so much better. You look at his final stat line from last year, 57% completion rate, 14 touchdowns, 12 picks, 2,400 passing yards. Again, though, last 4 weeks of the season for Kansas was electric. When they went on a stretch where they beat Iowa State, BYU, and Colorado is what I'm talking about. They went to BYU when BYU was the number 6th ranked team in the country and well on their way to go to the Big 12 championship and potentially win the Big 12, and Kansas went in there and beat them. Sure, were Retzlaff and BYU a little fraudulent at times? Yes. Kansas cracked that puzzle. And then they beat Colorado. Oh, by the way, they beat Rocco Becht and Iowa State 2 weeks prior. They played K-State really tough. They lost to Baylor the last week of the season when they were trying to get bowl eligible, which really shocked me. But they started the year 1-5 last year. They were atrocious. They lost to UNLV. They lost at Illinois. And I think the Fighting Illini can be pretty good this season. But you're looking out Kansas versus Fresno State. I think Fresno State's going to be able to hang. Fresno State got a test early last season. They got to go to Michigan, right? They went to Michigan. Obviously, Keene now at Michigan, so we'll see. They only lost by 20 at Michigan. And I get it, Michigan never really turned out to be what they were thought of preseason. Well, I don't know. They beat Ohio State. That's such a weird thing. Ohio State wins the Natty. Michigan went to the shoe and beat them last year. And again, we'll get to Michigan next week. And then, by the way, Michigan beat Alabama. In what was that? The Outback Bowl? It's just, I don't know. Michigan's a weird team, man. They're a really weird team. We'll see what happens. Oh, Davis Warren, too, is involved, I guess, in the quarterback situation. ReliaQuest Bowl is now the Outback Bowl. Regardless, Fresno State was tough last year against Michigan in week 1. They lost by 20. I remember Keene threw an interception for a touchdown, or at least an interception for a huge return late in that game, and ultimately, right, that was enough to propel Michigan to victory and really, I mean, obviously just separate them from Fresno. I think Fresno's going to play tough this week, and I think it's a huge game for E.J. Warner. Like, you need to perform, right? This is your third school in the last 3 seasons. This is your last shot, and you've been put in a position at Fresno State where they've produced NFL talent before. They produced Derek Carr. They produced Jake Haener. Mikey Keene, I don't know, but Mikey Keene's been put in a situation in Michigan where he's been given an opportunity to win the starting job. If you have a good season this year, you might be league bound. Obviously, the last name helps. It just does. When your father's a Hall of Famer, it sure as hell helps as well. Again, I think Warner's got the makings to be decent this season, and I just need Fresno State to hang on the road at Kansas. Again, don't forget how mediocre, below mediocre the Jayhawks were to start the year last year. They were not a good team last season, early in the year. And also, you take away Devin Neal, who's running the football? I assume, I don't even know who it's going to be. Is it LaShawn Williams? It's got to be LaShawn Williams, right? Transfer from Iowa. Obviously, last year was Caleb Johnson's year. Really limited production for LaShawn Williams. Dealt with some injuries. I assume LaShawn Williams is their starter now. I think. He can't make up with Devin Neal, though. What Devin Neal did last season. He just can't. Okay? No disrespect. Devin Neal had crazy influence on this football team last year. I'm taking Fresno State to cover. Don't play the money line, obviously, on either side. I mean, maybe sprinkle on Fresno State. Fresno State's defense last year was pretty solid, too. So I think we're okay here. I believe in Fresno State probably more than a lot of people do, and I believe in E.J. Warner a little bit more than people should, I think, and do. I don't know. I don't like the slow start at Kansas last season. I think Fresno's able to play them tough. Plus 12.5 here for the Bulldogs in Lawrence. Our fourth game of the week, let's go to a CUSA matchup between the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers and the Sam Houston State Bearcats. Okay, I don't get why the CUSA has this matchup. Now, I get why the ACC's playing a game, but I keep doing it. The Big 12's playing a game between Kansas State and Iowa State. Again, I just have the FSU game last year just in my head. I get why they're doing it, but why are we going to Bowling Green, Kentucky for a conference game in week 0? Why? So last year, these two teams were really competitive, right? In terms of record-wise, they were competitive. When they actually played, it was not a competitive game. Sam Houston played Fresno State at Sam Houston, and they got blown out on their own turf. They lost 31-14. Sam Houston, by the way, a team that, won the New Orleans Bowl. They were very successful, did not go to the CUSA championship game because that was Western Kentucky's game that they went to. Obviously, WK ended up losing in the conference championship game in a very underwhelming performance against Jacksonville State. Now, the Gamecocks were great last season. Vet Camp, by the way, former starter for WKU, now at FAU. TJ Finley transferred somewhere. Doesn't matter. He's not playing college football this season because he stole a truck, and he's just not eligible to play. They took him off. They kicked him off the team, obviously. I don't know if he's in jail or I don't know what happened, but legitimately, he stole someone's truck. So, yeah. TJ Finley, one hell of a talent at Texas State. Lost starting job last year. Thought he was going to be big time. Nope. Career over. Sucks. Really does. He was one hell of a player, especially at Texas State. I was so high on TJ Finley. Western Kentucky gets Sam Houston week 1 here. So, again, if you want to look at last year's matchup between WKU and Sam Houston, right, it's at Sam Houston. WKU wins 31-14. I remember Caden Vetkamp had a tremendous game on the road at Sam Houston in that one. Western Kentucky finished off their season pretty poorly. They got their way into the CUSA championship game by beating Jacksonville State in the final week of the season in November, but they closed the year so horribly, right? This is a team that was 5-0 in the CUSA. They beat New Mexico State, and they proceeded to lose back-to-back to Louisiana Tech at home. And if you remember, La Tech was god-awful last year. And they lost to crappy Liberty, too. Liberty was not good either. They go to Liberty and lose. Somehow they salvaged a victory against Jack State at home. Jack State was dealing with some injuries that last week of the season, and they play again the week after. They go to Jack State, and they get blown out by 40 points. They then went to the Boca Raton Bowl, where they lost to JMU by 10 points. Vet Camp did everything he could. So he's an Owl now in Boca Raton, Florida. Hell, that's where he lost his bowl game. And now WKU is turning to Maverick McVure as their starting quarterback. Albany Christian product who had his best season last year for the Wildcats. Threw for 30 touchdowns, 4,000 approximate yards, 3,900 yards for McVure. He is a senior out of San Angelo, Texas. He was really good last year for Albany Christian. He gets that step up. We've seen, again, quarterbacks from the FCS level get shots. Top of my head, Sluka last season. Max Brosmer, who went from New Hampshire to the Minnesota Golden Gophers and now is playing on the Minnesota Vikings, right? There are very good FCS quarterbacks who just don't get afforded opportunities. McVure is a good FCS quarterback who's going to get a shot at the CUSA this year, and the CUSA, we know, is pretty poor. West Kentucky, are they the favorites for me to win the entire thing? Potentially. Does Jacksonville State repeat last year? Probably not. CUSA is weak, we know, right? They add Delaware State, they add a Missouri State. We'll see what it is this season. Liberty's probably going to be good again this year, but you never know with the Flames. I think the Hilltoppers are in a really good position to win this thing. The line in this game is 9.5. I think they cover. I think they do. By the way, Sam Houston returns their starting quarterback from last season. It's Hunter Watson. Watson, I don't think he started every single game. Watson's a running quarterback. Passing wise, he's nothing impressive. He's not. He's going to throw picks, doesn't have a great arm. Just not a guy I think that's going to take him over the top. Now, here's the thing. WKU struggled a lot last season, at least the tail end of the year with running quarterbacks, and especially the guy that just comes to mind is Tyler Huff, who absolutely killed them in this USA Championship game. Huff had like 170 rushing yards in that game. Now, again, Huff has graduated, so that's why the Gamecocks are probably not going to be as elite as they were last season. But that is a factor, right? That is a factor. Hunter Watson's probably going to run a lot this year. Watson last year had over 600 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns. He is more than a threat to run the football, and we're going to have to imagine Sam Houston is going to continue to go to that well this week. Because honestly, he was their best rusher last year. Jay Ducker, their top running back, went to Temple. Yeah, I'd expect a lot of QB runs this week out of Sam Houston. But again, though, I'm going to go WKU. We saw this game played out last year, and WKU dominated this team on the road. When Sam Houston was actually building up some momentum at the time, they were 2-0 in conference. They were coming off a huge victory over UTEP. They had beaten New Mexico State earlier in the year. They had hosted Hawaii and beat them. They went to Rice and beat E.J. Warner in a game that I think they were underdogs in. No, I'm pretty sure they were underdogs in. Hunter Watson last year against Western Kentucky, I believe, was that the game that, God, did he get injured in that game? Because it was Watson and it was Jace Bauer last year. Jace Bauer is now at UT Martin. Jace Bauer did play some. He came in sporadically. He played a lot of that WKU game. I believe that was the game Watson got injured. Expect him to run a lot. He had 7 carries for 37 yards in the limited amount of time that he played against WKU last year. But I would just expect Western Kentucky to take over this football game. They really took it over in the fourth quarter last year against Sam Houston. But, obviously Vet Camp doesn't return. I think Maverick McVeer is a lot better. Not than Vet Camp, but I think he's going to be better than you would expect him to be. Again, a guy who really played well at Abilene Christian, 63% completion rate, 30 touchdowns for the Wildcats last season. I'd expect him to be good as well in the CUSA. No disrespect to the CUSA. It's obviously a higher level of football than the FCS. Not by much, though. I mean, it's very clearly the worst conference in college football. You get a guy who's playing an Abilene Christian, it's not going to be that much of a step up. I'm taking WKU here, minus 9.5 at home. I absolutely love it. It's a home game for them, right? We don't get many teams that just get straight up, home environments this week. Kansas is one, WKU's one, and then obviously Hawaii as well. I guess UNLV, but that's not a real tightly contested game. I think the home crowd advantage is going to be huge here. In Bowling Green, Kentucky, give me WKU, the Hilltoppers, at home. Our final game of the week, and maybe the one I'm most excited for. Just in terms of I love the value here. Guys, Stanford's not going to Hawaii and losing. They're not doing it, okay? New era of Stanford football. Andrew Luck is in charge now. Frank Reich is the head coach for 1 year and 1 year only. I don't know what his plans are post this season, if it's trying to return to the NFL, trying to get another job in the college level. I don't know. Regardless of what it is, if he's planning on coaching ever again, you need to have a good season this year at Stanford. Now, their schedule takes a turn for the worst, like week 4. If I remember correctly. Yeah. Oh, no, they play BYU next week. Yeah, in 2 weeks. Their first 5 games, easily Stanford could legitimately be 4-1. Hawaii win, Boston College win, Virginia win, San Jose State win. They could win 4 out of the 5, lose at BYU, lose in Provo, and then, boy, does it get difficult, though. At SMU, Florida State, on the road to Miami. Miami legitimately might be one of the best teams in college football. Just saying. I think Miami might have the best offense in college football. Texas is great. Watch out for the Hurricanes this season, guys. Watch out for Carson Beck. I think he's winning the Heisman. I think he is. Hot take. Look how much success Cam Ward had for Miami last year. Carson Beck's going to do the same exact thing, if not more. Okay? Carson Beck's one hell of a talent. He just didn't get to showcase that at Georgia. Just you wait. Anyway, Stanford's schedule's rough. That's the point I'm getting to, though. I think they're going to win in week 0. I think they're going to. I believe Elijah Brown's starting. I believe so. true sophomore, I believe Elijah Brown is. No, he's a redshirt sophomore this season. Elijah Brown made one start last year against Southern Methodist. Obviously, SMU playoff team out of the ACC. Didn't win the ACC, but did make the playoffs, obviously, last year, and it did not go well for them at Penn State. Don't worry, Kevin Jennings will be a star. Don't you worry. Kevin Jennings legitimately is going to be very good this season. SMU probably, I don't know. SMU versus Miami ACC title game, I think. We were supposed to get last year, but Syracuse, hey, watch out for Syracuse again. Anyways, Syracuse is the reason why Miami didn't get it, obviously. But I believe Elijah Brown, if they actually fully commit to Elijah Brown, I think he's going to be really great. All the makings to be great, right? Lampson transfers to Montana State, which is a great move for Lampson. Former Milpitas High School product. Like if he, at the Montana State Bobcats, he's gonna thrive there, man. That's a good school. Team that was in the FCS championship game last year. That's a great move for him. Ashton Daniels goes to Auburn. Okay, sure, backup. Elijah Brown, I mean, it's set for him now. Quarterbacks transferred in. Ben Gulbranson transferred in. Oregon State quarterback, played last year. I would not start him over Elijah Brown. I would completely commit to Elijah Brown, and then I would go to Ben Gulbranson if Brown struggles. I'm going to Elijah Brown week 1 if I'm Stanford. Dylan Risk is here too, who's a sophomore, played last year at Central Florida. Wasn't bad at a really good game against Arizona, but I wouldn't start Risk. I'm starting Elijah Brown from Stanford. I'm staying with your homegrown guy that's been here the last 2 seasons. Why wouldn't you? You know? That's where I would go. Again, if it's Ben Gulbranson, Gulbranson's played. He's a senior. I don't mind that either. My point being, they're going to beat Hawaii because, guys, look at all you need to see is Hawaii's quarterback situation. DeMarcus Davis or Micah Alejandro, I don't know who's starting. They both have never made a career start ever. No, Micah's made one against New Mexico last year. One combined start between these two players. Now, Micah's one start was actually insane. He threw for 469 yards in the final week of the year against New Mexico. 5 touchdowns. New Mexico, they phoned it in at the end of the year. My goodness. Devin Dampier had a decent game, too, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to Luke Weissong, too. Anyways, I remember being very disappointed about New Mexico in that last week against Hawaii last year. Anyways, if it's Micah, if it's DeMarcus Davis, I don't know. Davis is a former 4-star who bounced from UCLA, and now here he is at Hawaii. Redshirt freshman. Micah's a redshirt freshman too. Didn't play more than 4 games last season. We'll see what we get. You know, if it's Micah, I think he's probably the better guy. You know, DeMarcus Davis is 6'4", 200 pounds. Micah's 5'10", 180. Again, that's not the be all end all, obviously. But you know, we'll see. I think Stanford's gonna win the football game though. I don't care the game's in Hawaii. They're rebuilding the Aloha Bowl right now, so still a minimal stadium. It's gonna be 3,000 people there. Stanford is the all-around better unit. They are. Okay. This is still an ACC school. Andrew Luck's involved. Frank Reich's involved. I mean, the approach has to be for Reich too, who was signed for a 1-year deal, and it's been determined. No, he's leaving after this season. It's a 1-year deal for him. You have to win. You have to. And his entire thing has been, okay, I'm here for 1 year, and I've heard Reich say this himself. I'm here for 1 year. I'm here to put Stanford on a right track going forward for the future. Well, there's no better right track than beating Hawaii in week 1. So I am really surprised that Stanford is underdogs here. I get it. The Cardinal have been so disappointing just in the last 5 years. I mean, Stanford has not been competitive in a little bit. I get that. I mean, last year they were a 3-9 team. They lost to San Jose State and Nick Nash and Walker Agette to close the year. Don't forget this team went to Syracuse and won. They beat Louisville at home too. They've got it in their bag. They played TCU really competitive in week 1 in Palo Alto. I get it. They have to go to Honolulu for this game. I think they're going to be a lot more competitive than you think. I think this year in the ACC. I think they're going to make this look easy against Hawaii. Guys, don't forget, in 2023, they went to Hawaii too, and they bitched them. They won the game by 13 points. Hawaii was trying to get back in that game the entire time. And again, Braden Strager's gone now. Strager has moved on to... I saw somewhere that Braden Strager's trying to do acting. I don't know if that's real or not. Anyways, Stanford beat a decent Hawaii team by 13 points. last time they had to go to Hawaii. Ashton Daniels had one hell of a game, and really it should have been a 20-point win for Stanford. I think Hawaii scored at the very end. I remember being up at like 3 o'clock in the morning watching that game. It was late. East Coast times are crazy. But Stanford's gone to Hawaii and won before. It was Ashton Daniels then. It's going to be likely Elijah Brown. Now, if it's Ben Gulbranson, okay, he's going to be serviceable too. Stanford's a better team. They're the ACC squad. They should go to Hawaii and win. I absolutely love it. It's not, again, yes, there's home field advantage because Stanford's got to go all the way over the Pacific Ocean to play this game. Sure. It's not like there's some stadium pulse, though. Playing in front of 3,000 people in Hawaii, if that. So give me the Stanford Cardinal to go on the road to the Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex in Honolulu, Hawaii. Stanford money line on the road is underdogs plus 110. One of my favorite plays, if not my favorite play of the week. And if you want to see all of my plays or my 5 favorite plays, let me know. Again, college football best bets coming later in the week, probably on Thursday. So folks, thank y'all for watching our college football week 0 full predictions for the first week again of the college football season. We'll be back next week. Oh man, expect at least 2 hours next week. I mean, I just took 36 minutes for 5 games. Might be 3 hours next week. I love college football, my favorite sport. Trust me, we'll be locked in this season, okay? Once we watch all those teams play, again, we don't have much to base this off of, obviously, because college football is so difficult with the transfer portal and whatnot. Once we actually get to see these teams in action and actually get tape to watch on these squads, it gets so much easier. I always say it, the first 2 weeks are always the most difficult. As we get on, we get sharp, trust me. So folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back again later in the week for the best bets. Make sure to join us next week too. Every team in college football next week. Definitely we're going to talk about every single FBS game, the FCS games. I'll go over them really quickly. I'll try. We'll get to that again. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure that subscribe button down below for more. And Mamba forever.